Boom. Okay, let's try this again. Once I figure out here what's going on. Oh, what does that say? There's helicopters, there's military. Move my mouse and that happens. I want to fly a chopper. Good. I had to change my microphone because I had it set to the wrong one. That's not what I want. Okay, let's crash again. I don't know if I'm cleared for takeoff or not. Maybe that's why I was hearing the warning. Oh, I'm cleared to taxi to runway 24. I don't even know where that is. Uh-oh. Splash. I got a lot to learn with this game. Apparently I can't do anything from this joystick. Let's go briefing. Now there's a lot of known threats if I can stay in the air. I'm not ready to fly. I want to try and figure some stuff out. No, don't start rolling. Look at all the switches, and they're in foreign languages. Where's my fuel level? Oh, that's gonna be a problem. I got a lot of switches I gotta figure out here. See, that's changing a little thing right there by that little round thing. Active switches.
Наблюдаю бронетехнику от ориентира 299. Удаление 7.
So I got buttons all over to figure out. Oh, no, don't start taking off. That's okay. I just gotta learn how to fly first.
Прошел ППМ-2 на 500. 104. Захожу с запада. Атакую бронетехнику от ориентира 301. Удаление 64. Захожу с запада. Атакую МЗА от ориентира 301. Удаление 6.
Предельная перегрузка. Предельный угол атаки. 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 Предельная перегрузка. Переведи в набор. Предельный.
Right there. How about that? Yeah, it's very heavily armed. I can't believe it. I want to go fire the stuff, but I need a mission that's in English. Show my victories. None. End the mission. Give me something in English. You know what? Let's like this and go. Well, let's go do some training. Cockpit familiarization. Oh, that's another thing I didn't do when I was taking off before, is fold my landing gear up. Maybe that's why it was beeping at me. Oops.
Welcome to the P-51D cockpit overview lesson. Today, we will take a detailed look at the Mustang cockpit. You can use mouse look mode to move your view around the cockpit. To turn mouse look mode on and off, press left Alt plus C. Throughout this lesson, pressing the spacebar key will initiate the next consecutive step once instructions for the current one are complete. Press the spacebar key when you are ready to begin.
Wait a minute, where are my wings? Oh wait, they're right there. Hey wait, those don't look, oh, yeah, I guess they do look level. Wow. No handhold. Is that from my forehead? When I crash and burn?
The P-51 cockpit is configured in a standard layout, with the instrument panel positioned on the front dash, a center-mounted control stick, a throttle quadrant on the left side, and various aircraft system controls on the left and right panels. With the exception of the flaps control handle, which is located in the bottom left corner of the cockpit, most of the indicators and controls are well organized and easy to read and reach.
Okay.
We'll begin with the front dash. The top of the front dash is dominated by the K-14 gun sight. When first introduced in World War II, the K-14 was a major improvement in aerial gunnery. The sight automatically calculates the lead required to hit a moving target based on the shooting aircraft's flight parameters and the target's range and wingspan. The
That's
wingspan is
nice.
set using the wingspan dial on the front face of the sight, and the range is set using the throttle twist grip. This allows the pilot to adjust the range in combat without taking his hand off the throttle. Target range is indicated by the range drum on the left side of the sight. The sight also includes a fixed reticle used primarily for ground attack and as a backup to the gyroscoping sight for air combat. A masking lever attached to the left side of the sight panel can be used to blank out the ring portion of the fixed reticle, leaving only the center crosshairs.
Okay. Very complex game.
The gun sight is operated on the selector dimmer panel. Moving from top to bottom, the panel includes the following three switches. Gyro selector switch selects between fixed and gyroscoping reticles, or both. Gyro power switch turns the sight on and off. Dimmer rheostat switch controls reticle brightness on the reflector glass.
Weird. Very weird. I didn't think they'd have anything that advanced way back in World War II.
Moving on to the instrument panel, the upper left corner houses the remote indicating compass. The compass unit is installed inside the left wing and transmits magnetic readings electrically to the cockpit indicator. Using a remote compass avoids the magnetic effects caused by armor plating around the cockpit, experienced by a standard magnetic compass. The remote indicating compass includes a heading needle, which shows the current heading, and a desired heading needle, which can be turned using the indicator knob to set a desired course reference on the indicator. To turn the knob, you can simply roll the mouse wheel over it.
So that's not going to work. Okay.
To the right of the remote indicating compass is a standard clock. The winding knob can be used to set the time. Doing so requires pulling the knob out with the left mouse button, then rolling the mouse wheel over the knob to rotate it.
I can set the time. Oh, let's see. What time is it here? Well, wait, I moved the mouse. Yeah, okay. We'll go with Pacific time. That's kind of trippy.
On the right side of the gun sight is the suction gauge. The suction gauge indicates the amount of pressure in inches of mercury being generated by the engine vacuum pump. Vacuum pressure is used by a number of vital instruments, including the flight indicator, bank and turn indicator, and the directional gyro. A suction reading above or below normal means the readings of these indicators are unreliable.
So I got shot.
Next is the manifold pressure indicator. This is one of the primary instruments used in flight, and together with the tachometer or engine RPM indicator is your main reference of engine power. The manifold pressure indicator shows gas pressure inside the engine induction system prior to entering the cylinders. Like the suction gauge, the indication is in inches of mercury. Manifold pressure is set using the throttle handle, while engine RPM is set using the propeller control lever, also on the throttle quadrant.
Whoa. So I can actually adjust my flaps and everything like that. Oh, well, now I can't really adjust that, can I? Because I'm not looking at it.
On the left side of the middle row of the instrument panel is the airspeed indicator, which shows an indicated airspeed in miles per hour, mph. The red line on the indicator marks the maximum permissible airspeed of 505 miles per hour. It's important to remember that maximum permissible indicated airspeed is reduced as altitude increases. For example, it is 400 mph at 20,000 feet and 300 mph at 30,000 feet.
Okay. Bye-bye, top. Oh, do I have an ejection seat? Can I pull that? Oh, no, not that one. What does this do? Fuel shut off. On. Off. Okay.
In the left center of the instrument panel is the directional gyro, which shows current heading. The instrument can be caged and the heading adjusted manually by pushing in and rotating the indicator knob.
That's kind of slow.
In the center right of the instrument panel is the flight indicator, which shows the aircraft's roll and pitch attitude relative to the horizon. The indicator is limited to 60 degrees in pitch and 100 degrees in roll. The instrument can be caged or uncaged using the caging knob in the lower right corner of the indicator. The horizon level can be adjusted vertically using the pitch adjust knob.
That must be right there. Wow. What kind of game have I got here?
To the right of the flight indicator are two temperature gauges, the coolant temperature gauge above and the carburetor air temperature below. It's important to monitor these instruments in flight, as temperatures rising above normal may lead to serious engine problems, such as detonation and pre-ignition.
Don't want none of that pre-ignition.
On the right side of the middle row of the instrument panel is the
RPM?
tachometer.
Yep.
This instrument indicates engine speed in revolutions per minute, RPM. The pilot controls engine speed using the propeller control lever on the throttle quadrant. A propeller governor system automatically adjusts propeller pitch angles to maintain the RPM set by the pilot. Typical RPM settings in flight will be between 1,800 and 3,000 RPM. Moving to the bottom row of the instrument panel, the left corner houses the altimeter. The altimeter shows barometric or pressure altitude using a 3-needle system. The shortest needle shows altitude in tens of thousands of feet, the middle needle in thousands of feet, and the longest needle in hundreds of feet. The indicator knob is used to adjust the sea level reference pressure in inches of mercury to ensure an accurate altitude reading over a desired location where the sea level air pressure is known. Next is the bank and turn indicator, primarily used to maintain coordinated flight and minimize side slip. The vertical needle of the instrument indicates turn rate, and the slip ball indicates side slip or side skid. In flight, the pilot maintains the ball's center by using stick and rudder controls or aileron and rudder trim. Flight trim is very sensitive to changes in engine power and airspeed, so constant attention must be paid to the bank and turn indicator in order to fly as efficiently as possible.
I'm testing stuff as I go along here, trying to figure stuff out too. But
To the right is the rate of climb indicator, which shows the climb rate in thousands of feet per minute. Further to the right is the accelerometer, or G-meter. This indicator shows the G-load factor experienced by the aircraft, as well as two additional needles that show the maximum and minimum G-loads attained since the instrument was last reset. The instrument includes a reset button used to reset the needles to 0. Finally, on the very right is the engine gauge. This instrument includes 3 indicators: the oil temperature gauge, oil pressure gauge, and the fuel pressure gauge.
can't zoom in. It's got a parking brake.
Moving below the instrument panel, the engine control panel includes a number of important engine controls. These include supercharger blower switch, sets the supercharger to low, high, or automatic blower modes. Normally this should be set to auto. The jewel light indicator lights up when the supercharger kicks into high blower mode. Fuel booster switch, turns the fuel booster pumps on and off. Oil dilute switch, used to dilute the oil with gasoline, which may be necessary when starting in cold temperatures. Starter switch, used to turn the engine prior to ignition during startup. Primer switch, used to feed fuel to the engine through the fuel primer system during startup.
It's not lighting up specific switches, so I don't know which one is really which. I can read fuel booster here, oil dilute on here, starter. That one's got a bar in the way, and that one's got a bar in the way. And I can't read that one.
To the right are the 2 landing gear warning lights. These indicate safe or unsafe states of the landing gear. For example, the unsafe red light will be on if the gear doors are open but the landing gear is unlocked.
Gotcha. Landing gear. Hopefully I can remember that.
Adjacent to the landing gear warning light is the parking brake handle. Setting the parking brake requires the following steps. Pull out and hold the parking brake handle. Fully depress and release the brakes. Release the parking brake handle. Releasing the parking brake only requires a press of the brake pedals.
And how do I push the brake pedals?
On the right side below the instrument panel are the oxygen indicators, the oxygen flow indicator, and the oxygen pressure gauge. The oxygen flow indicator features a blinker that opens and closes as the pilot inhales and exhales on-demand oxygen. The oxygen pressure gauge shows the amount of oxygen remaining in the O2 tanks in pounds per square inch, psi. A normal reading is 400 psi. Just below the instrument panel is the front switch panel, which includes a variety of important controls. Ignition selector switch selects the left, right, or both magnetos to operate the engine ignition system. Gun safety switch arms the guns and gun camera to operate when the gun trigger switch is pressed. Bombs rocket selector switch selects either rockets or bombs to be released when the bomb rocket release switch is pressed. Bombs can be set to release simultaneously or in sequence train. Bomb arming switches arms the bombs for detonation. Rocket release control switch select single or ripple release of rockets and train. Rocket counter window indicates the sequential number of the next rocket to be fired. Can be reset using the rocket counter reset knob. Rocket delay switch. Selects instantaneous or delayed detonation upon impact for rockets. Cockpit light switch. Turns on and adjusts the cockpit floodlights. Horn silence button. Silences the AN/APS-13 rear warning radar alarm. Below the front switch panel is the fuel control panel. This includes the fuel shutoff valve, used to open and close the fuel flow, and the fuel selector valve, used to select the fuel tank used to feed the engine. Correct fuel tank selection is important in flight to maintain a balanced aircraft. In particular, when the fuselage tank is loaded with more than 40 gallons of fuel, it has a significantly adverse effect on lateral stability. In general, tank selection is performed in the following order: fuselage tank, external drop tanks, and then main wing tanks, alternated to maintain weight distribution. To the right of the fuel control panel are the hydraulic pressure gauge and the landing gear fairing doors emergency release handle. The landing gear fairing doors emergency release handle can be used to release the hydraulic pressure and mechanical locks holding the gear doors closed. This will open the fairing doors and allow the landing gear to fall down under its own weight. Slight rolling of the aircraft from side to side can be used to ensure the gear locks in place prior to landing. Normal pressure for the hydraulic system is 800 to 1,100 psi.
Won't let me start it. That's a modern day plane over there. Back to my tutorial.
The surface control lock is used to lock the control stick in place when the aircraft is parked. Left-clicking over the pin locks the stick in a forward position, which leaves the tail wheel unlocked and allows the aircraft to be towed and turned easily. Right-clicking on the pin locks the stick in the neutral position, which leaves the tail wheel limited to 6 degrees of turn.
Wow. Don't move no more. Cool.
Moving to the left side of the cockpit, the throttle quadrant dominates the forward section. The throttle quadrant includes the throttle handle, the propeller control lever, and the mixture control lever. In addition, 2 friction locks are mounted on the assembly and can be used to stop the movement of the throttle handle or the mixture and propeller control levers. The throttle handle features a twisting grip used to set the target range for the K-14 gun sight, and a microphone switch button used to activate transmission over the VHF radio.
Huh.
Moving back from the throttle quadrant, the radiator air control panel includes switches to operate the coolant and oil radiator flap doors. These are usually kept in automatic, but can be opened and closed manually when necessary.
Auto,
This
please.
panel also includes the landing light switch and the left-hand fluorescent light rheostat switch, which controls instrument backlighting on the left side of the cockpit.
Open oil control. Coolant control cover. Those can just stay in automatic.
The two bomb salvo handles located forward on the left side can be used to mechanically release the left and right bombs in case of damage or malfunction leading to a failure of an electrical release using the normal bomb rocket release switch on the stick.
That's weird.
3 trim wheels are used to set the aileron, rudder, and elevator trim. Take off with 5 to 6 degrees of right rudder trim to help compensate for engine torque. Trim settings in flight may vary depending on flight conditions.
I can't even see that one really.
The two handles toward the left rear of the cockpit control airflow to the engine induction system. The ram air control handle controls whether air is ingested through the main intake under the nose or filtered intakes on either side of the nose. Filtered air is used when icing of the intake develops. The hot air control handle opens a vent door in the engine compartment to allow warm air to enter the carburetor. This can be done below 12,000 feet when icing of the carburetor is a danger. Probably the most awkward control in the cockpit is the flaps control handle in the bottom left corner. The flaps can be set from 0 to 47 marked 50 degrees in 10-degree increments.
An armrest. Oh, where's the armrest on this side? I guess they don't want you to have an armrest in your right hand when your right hand's supposed to control the big joystick in the middle. Shucky darn.
The landing gear control handle is also on the left side. The handle is pulled in and moved up or down to raise and lower the landing gear as desired. The gear should only be moved when it's locked in either the up or down position. Now moving on to the right side of the cockpit, we have two canopy controls. The canopy is rolled open and closed by turning the canopy hand crank. The red handle is the emergency canopy release. When pulled, this will unlock the canopy and it will fly off into the slipstream.
Yeah, my canopy's gone. It took a vacation.
The oxygen regulator is used to control oxygen flow to the pilot's mask. The oxygen diluter lever, marked with yellow stripes, is used to set normal diluted oxygen or 100% oxygen. The red emergency valve is a separate backup oxygen line and can be used to bypass the regulator. The recognition light's keying switch is used to flash the recognition lights installed on the underside of the right wingtip when they are set to key mode on the electrical panel. The lights turn on for as long as the keying switch is held down and off when it is released. The electrical control panel includes switches for battery and generator power, pitot tube and gun heaters, and external lighting. In addition, the right-hand fluorescent light rheostat switch controls the backlighting for instruments on the right side of the cockpit.
There's too
The
much to
electrical
remember
control
right
panel
now.
also includes an important indicator, the ammeter. This shows current output of the generator in amperes. Maximum permissible output is 100 amperes. The ammeter does not show battery current. Finally, the electrical control panel also includes a circuit breaker bump plate. This can be pressed in to reset all the circuit breakers in case one or more of them gets overloaded and pops out.
Turn them back on. Thank you. Tail position lights. Wing position lights. I don't want to run any lights. I don't want nobody to see me. Pilot heating. Yes, get some heat flowing in here, please. Thank you. Gun heating. I wouldn't want my guns to be cold.
Further back from the electrical control panel is the AN/APS 13 Rear Warning Radar, or RWR. This device sounds an alarm when an object is detected behind the aircraft to warn the pilot of a possible threat approaching from the rear.
It's not testing.
Next is the SCR 522 VHF radio, used for communication with flight members and air traffic controllers. The radio features 5 channels, the frequencies for which are preset and cannot be changed in flight. You should consult your mission briefing prior to starting a flight to ensure your radio is set up to contact ATC towers in your vicinity. The remaining radio systems of the P-51, including the homing adapter, IFF transponder, and Detrola range receiver, are not functional in this aircraft.
I need keyboard button stickers. Because all of these controls on the keyboard or in the cockpit are controllable. Right there's one that I'm controlling. That's the wing position lights. You can push U on the keyboard and control that. Hey, look, a map! I kind of figured that would come up with the M button, but no, it's the K button. K is in kilo. M is operating this guy over here. The mixture control select. I don't see what N is doing. Generator. B button. V is another power switch. It's generator disconnect. Oh, B is battery. V is generator. You can see Z and X operate the foot pedals down here on the floor. Ooh, what's that switch that I'm operating? Gun control with Q. T operates my tanks, which makes sense. Y is flashing my little light thing over here, recognition lights. Wing position lights with U. I think I've already discovered that one. Tail position lights with I. Sight mode is adjusted with 1. So you can change the sight mode with 1, 2, 3, 4. Or you can just alter between them with 1 button. My fixed reticle mask lever is operated with 5. I can hear that operating something, but I can't see what it's operating. Oh, there it is. It is operating my left bomb arm chemical button. What button did I say that? So yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to print out a keyboard with labels. Rockets release mode. I don't hear 9 doing anything, or 0. Oh, 5 on the keypad. So you can use the keypad to look all over the place. And 5 centers your vision again. That's good to know. Oh, look, a zoom. Alright. Haha. Now I can actually read this stuff. Amazing. Plus side on the keypad operates the throttle up. Holy cow, guys.
Let's now take a look at the fuel gauges. You may need to twist your head around the cockpit a little to see them. You can press left Alt plus C to enable mouse view mode, and then hold down the mouse wheel while moving the mouse to move your head around the cockpit. The fuselage tank gauge is located behind the pilot's seat on the left side. The gauges for the left and right main tanks are located on the floor to either side of the seat. There are no fuel gauges for drop tanks.
I thought he said I could swivel my head. I can't do left Alt and C. That locks the mouse view or releases the mouse view. Enable mouse view mode and then hold down the mouse wheel while moving the mouse. Oh, like this. That's a full tank. And that looks like a full tank. Yes, it is. All right, all right. Wow, I've been at this for 49 minutes already.
Finally, the area under the seat also houses cockpit environmental controls, including windshield defrosting and cockpit heating and cooling.
But you can't really look at it. To tell what it's on. Really? Is my pilot going to be subjected to body temperature and everything? If I'm too hot, do I know it? That's going to be crazy.
This concludes the cockpit overview lesson. Next time, we'll learn how to start her up.
I've come pretty close to starting her up already. Oh wow, okay. So I can move around like that. I can click the mouse button. Wowzers. I have to change my monitor configuration because I keep streaming off into my second monitor here. And that's going to hinder me a lot, actually. I'll have to put my second monitor above and... Ooh, that's going to mess me up too. I can see the problems with that. Anytime I go like that. Oh, this plane looks like I've already flown it. I see chips taken out of the paint on the propeller. Whoops. Come on, start. Yeah, I got stuff so messed up in this. Okay, anyway. Landing gear does work. I'm surprised I got it to fire up without any real coaching on it. That's kind of exciting. Oh, you know, what are these other switches? Tail position lights, warning, pilot heating, gun heating, battery disconnected on, which is good. Or off, I guess. The battery's not disconnected. Light, key off, steady. Amber recognition light. Total frequency selector. There, a parking brake. Now maybe I won't go lunging forward next time I do get it started. Dimmer switch for the cockpit lights. That's nice. am I moving now? Oh, something else. Wow, so many buttons. Something I messed with broke it. Okay, I gotta move on here. Actually, I need to go take a break. Um, so give me a few minutes. I'll be back. Alrighty. Now I think I can get back to it. The very rare time where the needs of the few outweigh the needs of the many. What's this manual? Oh, I already looked at that. Although there's a lot of stuff in here. Aiming reticle of the selected weapon. Green, current waypoint. Red, enemy SAM. SAM being surface to air missile. Friendly SAM, enemy vehicle. Enemy aircraft. Okay. Vehicles are diamonds. Aircrafts are triangles. I'm not ready for any of that. I just gotta learn how to fly. That's not what I want. I don't want that. Nope, not right now. Sorry. Learn the engine start procedure instead of just trying to mess around with it.
Welcome to the startup lesson. Today we will practice the engine start procedure for the P-51D. Press the spacebar key to begin.
Okay.
The engine start sequence is not very complicated. We will move around the cockpit clockwise, starting on the left side to configure the aircraft for engine start. Let's begin with the flaps control handle, positioned to the rear bottom left side of the cockpit. For a normal takeoff, flaps are not usually lowered. However, 15 to 20 degrees of flaps can be used when a minimum run takeoff is required. Set the flaps control handle all the way up to the up position. To do this, you can either click and drag the handle with the mouse or press left shift plus F command repeatedly until it is all the way up. Note, the flaps won't actually come up until the engine is running and there is sufficient pressure in the hydraulic system to raise them.
I see.
Now set the carburetor induction system for normal operation by moving the cold air control handle all the way forward to the ram air position and the hot air control handle all the way forward to the normal position. Next, set the coolant and oil radiator air control switches to the auto position for automatic operation of the coolant and oil radiator flap doors. To do so, left-click on the auto switch positions. Don't forget to close the switch covers after. Adjust the trim tabs to prepare for takeoff. Set rudder trim to 5 degrees right. Elevator trim depends on fuel load. With the fuselage tank empty, elevator trim can be left neutral. With the fuselage tank filled with 25 gallons or more, elevator trim should be set between 2 and 4 degrees nose down. Aileron trim remains neutral.
That's right.
On the throttle quadrant, ensure the propeller RPM lever marked P is set all the way forward to increase and the fuel mixture lever marked M is set to idle cutoff. Set the throttle handle about 1 inch forward from the fullback position to slightly open the throttle butterfly valve and allow air to flow to the engine. If you don't have a throttle controller, the plus and minus keys on the keyboard numpad can be used to move the throttle handle. Moving to the engine control panel on the front dash, turn on the fuel booster pump by setting the fuel booster switch to the up position by clicking over the switch. Select the left and right magnetos to provide power to the engine ignition system by setting the ignition switch to both. On the fuel control panel, ensure that the left wing tank is selected for fuel consumption by checking that the fuel selector valve is set to the main tank LH position. Open the fuel shutoff valve by clicking on it to set it to the on position. Let's set the parking brake to make sure we remain stationary when the engine begins to pull. You may want to open the controls indicator by pressing right control plus enter to monitor the positions of your flight controls, including the brakes. Setting the parking brake takes a few steps. First, pull out and hold the parking brake handle by clicking and holding it. Next, while continuing to hold the parking brake handle, fully press the brake pedals by holding down the W key. Continuing to hold the parking brake handle, release the wheel brakes by releasing the W key. Now release the parking brake handle to set the parking brake. If done correctly, the parking brake handle should remain in the pulled out position. We'll now move on to the electrical control panel on the right side of the cockpit. Set the battery switch to the up position to provide electrical power. Also, set the generator switch to the up position to prepare the generator to take over once the engine is running over 1500 to 1700 RPM. Click and hold the primer switch on the engine control panel for about 1 second to feed some fuel to the engine. When starting in cold temperatures, up to 4 seconds of prime may be necessary. We are now ready to attempt an engine start. To do so, first press and hold the starter switch to operate the starter and begin turning the engine. As the engine begins to catch, move the fuel mixture control lever on the throttle quadrant to the run position by right-clicking on it once. If you aren't able to start the engine successfully, return the fuel mixture lever to idle cutoff by left-clicking and repeat the process starting with priming the engine. Note, the engine starter can be easily overheated. The starter should not be used for more than 4 20-second attempts to start, with 15-second intervals, followed by a 5-minute cool-off period. Good start. Now we need to make sure the engine is running smoothly without any indications of the problem. Use the RPM gauge and adjust the throttle to run the engine at about 1200 RPM. Monitor the engine gauge to check the oil pressure to reach at least 50 psi and the oil temperature to reach at least 40 degrees Celsius. Check the suction gauge to make sure it is showing a normal suction of 3.75 to 4.25 inches. Press the space bar to proceed.
Okay, how do I adjust this?
Check the hydraulic pressure gauge to make sure it is normal pressure inside. Check the oxygen pressure gauge to make sure it is normal inside. Press the space bar to proceed.
Well done. Got a running engine. Oh, maybe I should have done that beforehand so I could hear better. I guess I better take off. Boom. Oh, whoops. I think I need to go through the takeoff thing. A little bit of takeoff instructions, perhaps. That was too funny. Oh, how to taxi, takeoff grid practice, takeoff solo, oh, guided practice and solo practice, landing. Oops, yeah, big time oops. I can't believe how much there is in this game. That is just incredible. Oh, wow, that... Oh, man, I... All right, so I'll run through the taxi setting here, and then I'm going to call it quits for now. This is one intense game, that's for sure. Taxi. Taxi. That's, don't they know it's called Uber these days? Gosh.
Welcome to the taxi lesson. Today we will practice taxiing in the P-51D. Press the spacebar key to begin. As with most other aircraft configured with a tail-dragging undercarriage, taxiing in the P-51 can be tricky. Forward visibility is obstructed by the nose, and it doesn't take much to nose over into the ground. To maintain awareness of the area ahead, the aircraft is taxied in a zigzag or S pattern, turning it from side to side as it rolls forward. You can move your head position to either side in the cockpit to peek around the nose. To do so, press left Alt plus C to enable mouse view mode, and press and hold the mouse wheel while dragging the mouse left and right. Alternatively, you can use the commands right control plus right shift plus num 4 and right control plus right shift plus num 6 to move your head from side to side. Press the spacebar key to proceed.
Okay, that part's not going to be easy. Apparently using my joystick, which I really enjoy, is only going to work when I'm actually flying. The rest of this is all done on the keyboard.
Another important element to keep in mind is the position of the control stick. When the stick is held aft of center, pulled toward the pilot, the tail wheel is limited to 6 degrees of rotation to either side. This is the standard taxi and takeoff position of the stick. It helps maintain directional control, but limits the turning radius of the aircraft. When the stick is pushed forward of neutral, the tail wheel is unlocked and becomes free swiveling. In this case, the rudder pedals do not control the tail wheel. This makes it possible to perform tight turns, but can be very tricky to control as the aircraft rotation can be sudden and violent depending on speed, applied brakes, engine power, and rudder position. Press the spacebar key to proceed. When taxiing over a smooth and level surface, such as this runway, very little engine power is required. It's also best to minimize the use of brakes to prevent unnecessary wear and heating. Hot brakes can easily ice over after takeoff as the aircraft climbs into colder temperatures at altitude. Press the spacebar key to proceed. Press right control plus enter to open the controls indicator so you can monitor the position of your flight controls. Pull the control stick aft of center and hold it there to keep the tail wheel locked for taxiing. To practice taxi control, we will use a lead car to take you through a short taxiing course. The car is now waiting in position to your left. Press the spacebar key when you are ready to begin. The car will now drive forward at about 10 mph. Add a little power to begin moving forward. Use the numpad plus and minus keys to control the throttle. Use the Z and X keys to control the rudder pedals to turn left and right. Use the W key to depress the wheel brakes as required. Zigzag from side to side as you follow the car through the course. Try to stay between 100 and 300 feet from the car. Don't worry, if you get too far behind, it will stop until you catch up. Don't get too close either, or the driver will panic from fear of being turned into mincemeat and will stop. The car has stopped, so you can catch up. The car is moving again. The car will now turn onto the taxiway to the right. The car has stopped, so you can catch up.
So I can catch up, hell.
The car will now turn right to come around onto the taxiway leading back to the runway.
Burnouts in planes.
We'll stop here for a moment.
Stop where?
Moving on, we'll now make a left onto the runway. We'll now make a right turn onto the apron area to turn around to face the runway again. This is a tight space and will require some care. You may need to unlock the tail wheel to make this turn by pushing the stick forward. When the tail wheel is unlocked, use differential braking to control your turn. Press left control plus W to use the left wheel brake, and left alt plus W to use the right wheel brake.
Okay, this is really weird.
The car will stop here. See if you can pull up next to it.
I don't even know where the car is. What are you talking about? I foresee a crash in my future. Yeah, very, very challenging. I'm going around in circles. Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Can't seem to make it face that way. I don't think my left brakes work. Right brakes work. Stop it. Did I break a flap off? Maybe that's why I can't turn. My flap is broken. How do I restart this? I wonder what oh, it's when I hit the ground, huh? Let's retry that whole taxi thing right there. Yeah. I think I need to change my controls. I'm still figuring out what I need to change in them though. I think I'll make F2 recenter my vision. Bravo 1. If I hold that down and move the joystick, then I can look left and right while I'm actually using my joystick. And quit. Cancel. So this is the opening screen. I think yeah, you've seen it very, very quickly. Settings, controls, aircraft labels, all labels. Add key button. 13. Okay. EDA show cursor, show hide, briefing window, camera, jiggle, toggle, huh? Cockpit view, head shift movement on off. That's left windows. I don't know what button that is. HUD, neutral head movement view. Don't know what that is. F10 jump to theater map view current point. Theater map airport free camera. Camera moving backwards. Number pad slash. Okay, so zooming in and zooming out. Let's go. Add key button. There we go. Add. Okay. Jump to free camera. Civil traffic view, static object view. Toggle camera position, toggle local camera control, view on aircraft, flyby jump view.
ground, hostile, nearest AC, released weapon, weapon to target view, ground. Target view, landing signal, officer view, ship view, fast keyboard turn speed. Force cursor to show on off, frame rate. Get new plane respawn. That's an important one. Right control, right shift, and tab. That's a very important one for a crasher like me. Let's see. Keypad 5. So we're looking for number 5. View center. Joy button 5. Where's 5? Three, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Thirteen, 14, 15. Oh, that should do it. I forgot about those buttons. Huh? So I need to try that button. Excuse me. I'm going to go back into taxi real quick.
Welcome to the taxi lesson. Today we will practice taxiing in the P-51D. Press the spacebar key to begin.
Didn't work. Quit. Cancel. Controls. But it says it works. What the heck? Training? Fly.
Welcome to the taxi lesson. Today we will practice taxiing in the P-51D. Press the spacebar key to begin.
Okay. I'm adding buttons and they are not working. Because the button I'm pushing now should do that right there. Grr. Arg. Options. Audio system special. Main audio output, headphones, voice chat input, microphone at multiplayer start, PTT, switches, music, helmet, in cockpit world GUI volume. Here like it's in a helmet. That's kind of cool. Arm bending, thumb pressure. Why do the controls not work when they're supposed to work? Work! Miscellaneous. There we go. Synchronize the cockpit controls with the HOTS controls at mission start. That will be very helpful, I hope. User snap view saving. Show pilot body and cockpit when available. Is that going to work now?
Welcome to the taxi lesson. Today we
No.
will practice taxiing in the P-51D. Press the spacebar key to begin.
Hey, look, I got my flat back though. I don't want to press the space bar. I want my view. My zoom view isn't even working like it should. Because that should be zooming me in. So I can see some of these controls without taking my hands off the joystick. Maybe I could do that.
Interesting is very.
Alright, well, I'm going to call it quits here. This is 2 hours of sitting in my chair and my bum's getting kind of numb. But I will try to figure these controls out a little better. And live stream this again later. Maybe when I got a little more knowledge of what the heck am I doing? So until then, stay safe, stay healthy, and game on. Thanks for watching.